I'm not entirely sure if I have a 10-minute time limit or not. Nobody's ever exactly explained that, but I'm going to assume that I do. And my time ran out on the previous video, so I'm just going to restart this one. These disruptions that could happen in the United States are going to be fairly significant. They're not. I don't think it's going to be like a Mad Max kind of thing going on, but it certainly would be the case where there'd be some parts of the United States that would have ready access to gas, to petroleum products, and then other areas of the country wouldn't. And a lot of it would be related to supply issues, to transport. Some areas would actually have things like would have regular supplies of food coming in, and then some other areas wouldn't. Probably the larger areas of the nation would actually be more looked after because there's larger populations in bigger cities. The rural areas might be just kind of asked to fend for themselves. And for at least, I think, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, maybe as long as 6 weeks in some parts of the country, particularly if this happens in the wintertime. But then after a while, it's happening sometime in November, going into maybe December or January. But whenever it occurs, I think that there will be significant enough disruptions that it will be one of the most trying times that I think the United States has had since 9/11, or perhaps even since World War II. And its impact will be felt across a broad spectrum of people, geographic areas. It will create tensions within the United States, tensions between towns, between states, between rural areas and city areas, between any kind of faction that you could name, and it will create tensions and difficulties between, religious groups, political groups, anything you can think of. There'll be, whenever the price of gasoline rises, which is what's going to be fueling, no pun intended, this whole problem, then you're going to see a lot of blame going around. So there's a lot of recriminations, a lot of accusations, both politically and socially, that will be going on. You stole our gas. You're keeping transport of stuff from coming to us. You're keeping it for yourself. Any and all of the things you could see when there's suddenly a lack of something that everyone needs. You see it happening, and look at any disaster movie sometime. You always will see those people that are in the thing saying, well, you're the one to blame. This will be a very similar type of situation. Internationally, what will be going on, I think, simultaneously, like I said in the previous update, there's a chance that there may be another conflict that kind of erupts, and I think that could be a surprise to the United States as well. The fact that there could also be a conflict that emerges at the same time that a conflict in Iran is unfolding. There may be another one that begins in some Far Eastern countries. As I say, my assumption is that China would be involved. China has a lot of territorial aspirations that it's beginning to express. A lot of other nations are feeling pressured by the presence of China, and I think that the possibility of conflict is definitely increasing. You add that together with, which I said in one of the previous videos, that there's also the chance of a geographical disruption, a geologic disruption occurring when we have an earthquake here in the United States. And there could be supply problems, there could be natural disaster problems, everything that comes with that. The variety of different things that could be suddenly there and evident. I think that the period of time that I originally had estimated was going to be about 5 months. And I think it's somewhere between 4 and 5 months that we can see this disruptive period. After that, it kind of goes back, I think, to a fairly good thing. There are political reshufflings that take place after a war. And the way people have asked me before, so you think this is going to be World War III? Absolutely not. There's not World War III. The bigger conflict, the larger conflicts, seem like they're coming in another few years. I get the idea that this basically would be the equivalent, if anyone's a student of history, this would be the equivalent of Italy attacking Ethiopia in 1935. This is the kind of the precursor. You're getting to see what things could be like if there's a war that happens between Iran and the United States. But the big one it's still a few years off. We aren't seeing major actors here involved in this. Iran, for all of its wealth in oil, is not a huge military power. They have got the benefit of location right now. That little narrow strait in the Strait of Hormuz is a very powerful choke point. And the mere fact that the nation of Iran is right there on it provides an incredible weapon just in terms of location. I think that because of the size of the nation of Iran, it's just going to be a tougher nut for the United States to crack. We would have to have a lot of things on board and working well for us, and I'm not getting the sense that it would be. I'm not trying to be unpatriotic about that. I consider myself to be very much a patriot, but I try to call them the way I see them too. And to me, it looks like this could be a bad situation, and I want to try to give as much warning as I can to try to minimize whatever might happen, both with our servicemen overseas and with people who might be living here in the United States who might hear my words and take something from it. Assuming that it goes the way that I say. Naturally, if you are looking at world events and they do not conform to what I'm saying, then I'm wrong. In which case, you should ignore everything that I say and not take what I'm saying to heart. But there have been instances where I've made predictions in the past when they have been correct. They have not always been self-evident until the time that they are occurring. I may make a prediction and I may be off in its implications, but the events themselves oftentimes I seem to, I have had a slightly better success than a lot of other people, I will say that. And I'd be fool not to recognize it, because when I read it myself, I go back and read my own predictions, and I'm like, wow, who's this guy who wrote that? And, oh yeah, that's right, that was me. But it would be, I think, remiss of me not to say that you should always take any prediction that you hear with a grain of salt. Most prediction is potentials, not actuals, because the future is one of those things, a very malleable and very mutable type of substance. It's not, very rarely do you come across rock, stony kind of edifices that exist in time that say, I am a prediction that must happen. They exist. Every now and then you bump up on one where it's just kind of, oh, okay, that's an inevitable thing. It's going to happen no matter what you do. But there's a lot of other currents and cross currents and eddies and flows that are related to the interactions of people. Free will, creating your own future, as they would say in the New Age movement. A lot of these things are out there, and they can have a direct impact on what's going on. I guess I would caution everybody right now that it's probably unnecessary, because I think people have become extremely cautious because of the fact that we're in 2012. There's a lot of tension that's going on in the world, and I think that people are very fearful right now. There's a lot of fear that's out there. My opinion is that there could be a bad period, but that at the end of that period, whenever it starts, like I say, about a 4 or 5 month period, just man up and muscle your way through until that time period's over, and then we'll have another period of a lot of political stuff going on, but nothing that'll, there'll be little minor wars and stuff happening in the places where there are always little minor wars going on, but nothing really big, I think, for a few years. Once we get past this. But this could be a time period where it could be very destructive, and it could be, you could see a lot of crime, you could see a lot of violence, you could see some lack of essential services, and I think that it would be a good idea to take preparation. So, okay, that's 3 update videos in one night. That's probably enough, and again, I'm running out of my 10 minutes of possible YouTube time here, so good luck to everybody, and hopefully I'm wrong, and please come back and tell me you were wrong when none of this occurs. But, God bless everybody, and just my hope for the best. Have a good evening.